Hi everyone, it's AJ and I am here with something to do on your Saturday. In case you didn't know, January is National Get Organized Month, and last week we talked a little bit about repurposing picture frames, and I've drug them back in here again this week to show you some other cool stuff. If you didn't catch the video last week, you can always jump back and take a look because there's some cool ideas, but I'm going to give you some more cool ideas today of some things that you can use around the house to help you get organized. A lot of times when we think about getting organized, of course, all the local hardware stores and everything else are telling us, oh, we got this tote to help you get organized, we got this piece of stuff. Well, there's stuff right around your very own home that you can use to help get organized, and some of it can actually even be fun to make and cute, and of course my favorite, free or low cost. So the project that we're going to do today, actually, you can use it a couple different ways, and I'm actually going to make a mitten and or hat holder, but you could also use this to clip your mail to, your bills, your cards, your shopping lists, whatever you need to do to help you get organized. And all you're going to need is plain old piece of wood, maybe a leftover piece of floor tile, and hey, guess what? If you don't have one, I'm going to provide that for you. You can pick them up in the vestibule Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and Saturday from 10 to 2. Just stop in there. There's a nice little box that'll say that there's Saturday supplies. You pick up a baggie and you will be able to make kind of what I make today or put your own spin on it, because I always like it when you do that. So again, you'll need a piece of wood, and if you don't have a board or a floor tile or something like this, you could also use a picture frame for this one. Hang on to those picture frames, even if they don't have glass. Hang on to those picture frames because you're going to be able to put this together. So the other thing that we're going to provide for you are some clothespins. I'll throw a couple clothespins in there. I have taken my clothespins and my board and I've kind of just given it sort of that little whitewashed kind of thing. And I'm going to take my hot glue gun. I'm going to dig through my mess here because I got some other cool things I want to show you. And I am just going to take my clothespins. So I'm going to flip this. This board was cut a little crooked, so I'm going to try and compensate for that as much as possible with my decoration. See how that goes. So I'm just going to take my clothespin and my hot glue gun, and I'm just going to run glue. It's even giving me a nice little line where that little piece of metal fits into the clothespin. That's where I'm going to stop. So I'm just going to run hot glue right down the side of that till I get to the line that says stop, right? And then I'm just going to put that on my board with that unglued piece, and I'll pick that up in just a second and show it to you. With that unglued piece kind of hanging over top. I'm going to hold it so that it gets nice and dry here before I start playing with it a whole lot. Like so. And then once it's good and dry, you actually be able to push down on it and clip your hat or your mittens right along there, so you can put a nice little piece of twine on the back of here and hang it on the wall. You can use this with any kind of, board that you might have laying around. I'll put a variety out in the vestibule so that you guys have, depending on what you like to do, what your style of decor is. Hey, guess what? These are still wet. And so you can put as many as you want on here. And of course, depending on what you're going to use it for, where you might want to locate your clothespins, because if you're using it for mail or organizing some notes or some recipes, you can actually take your clothespins and put them up higher. And I suppose that I could for the gloves and the hats or whatever, because I think I'm going to run this over to my grandbabies, and their little hands are small, so I could probably put clothespins up there. But I'm actually gonna add some fun little snowmen to it. I have some extra little pieces of decoration that I had laying around from who knows what. Of course, because it is January, there's still a chance that you can get out to the stores and pick up a few after holiday bargains at 50 or 75% off, because on sale is almost as good as free. And you know how I like free. And then you can actually give your little organizer, holder, whatever you would like to call it, kind of a fun and festive look to it. So I now have my little clothespins on there. Like I said, we can just pinch those and they can hold your mittens, your hats, your gloves, whatever. And this is a good little activity for kids. It's kind of a nice fine motor thing, helping them kind of get and push there. Just make sure they don't pinch your little fingers in there. They'll figure it out real quick though, right? And so again, I've got some little, and I'm just gonna slap some glue on him. Let's see, is that where I wanted? Yeah. And one of the reasons that I'm doing that is because, again, I got a crooked board here, but once I put the snowman on, we'll hide that, and it won't be as noticeable, and you can see that he was a Christmas ornament because he's still got his little hanger on there, but that won't hurt anything. So I'm just going to put a big blob of hot glue on there and stick my snowman right onto my board. And you know, you could even take a little Sharpie and write some names on there, or even on the clothespins if you wanted to designate whose hat was who or whose gloves were who, if that's something you need to do in your house to keep the peace and keep order. But this is just a nice, inexpensive way to keep track of hats and gloves. Help you get organized, and they also work nice if if you've been outside and things are a little damp, that you can hang them up and keep them nice. And so there we go, pretty simple, pretty quick, pretty easy, and super inexpensive. We've got this cool little organizer. And if you want another tip, if you have kids and keeping track of mittens and gloves are an issue, take a piece of yarn and measure the child, and your yarn is going to stretch the same length as your arms, a little bit longer, and either tie or sew the yarn to the cuff of the glove or the mitten on each end, and then pull the one mitten through the sleeves of the coats, and their mittens will stay, not only will they stay attached, but they have to really work to get them out of the coat. So that's a way to keep track of your mittens and not lose them and drop them and get them wet and all that. So that is our little organizer board. I'm going to show you a couple other fun things that you can do around the house to stay organized or to help get you organized. We did a lot last week with picture frames. I really like that. I could do picture frame stuff all day. There's so many cool things. So I have this picture frame here, and as I've said before, it doesn't have glass. I have a lot of picture frames in my house that do not have glass. I know why. I was going to say, I'm not sure why. I know why. Take them out to paint them and the glass gets broke, because that's just how it is. So we have this picture frame that I'm not sure how long ago my Katie painted this, but not really sure why she didn't paint the thing, but that's okay because she's getting it back. So if she thinks it's weird that the inside isn't painted, well, that's her issue. I had this little thing hanging around, and it was actually from the Dollar Tree. It had some sort of little metal piece on it, and a little wall hanging little decoration. And I figured out that it almost fits in here perfectly. So I am going to take this, and I'm actually going to grab my little sanding block, and I'm going to just sand a little edge, just a little bit more of that pressed wood down just a little bit. And that way it should fit into the frame and be kind of a tight fit. I don't want to jam it too much because I don't want to break my frame. But it kind of, it's going in there, yay! But I'm just gonna squish this in here just a little bit. There we go. Squish it in. Do I got enough room to come along? I'm gonna push this drawer in all the way to this even, so that's even with this back edge. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I'm just gonna push that in. This little, it's not really, well, it's kind of a drawer now. It wasn't a drawer before. It was a wall hanging now. I'm making it kind of this hanging out sort of drawer. even yet? Not quite yet. Maybe. Okay, and then oh, shut up. See, I banged on the table and now they think someone's here, that we have company. They're starved for company. Oh, Farkas, Farkas, knock it off. And so I'm just going to run my hot glue, Farkas. I'm going to run my hot glue around Farkas's little mouth to make him stop barking. No, not really. I would not do that to Farkas. Farkas, that's enough. Nobody wants to listen to you. So I've put some hot glue on the bottom. I'm going to do the same on the back. And I'm going to try and fill in as much of that gap with the hot glue as possible, because that'll kind of secure our little shelf drawer thing a little better. Just because, you know, that way it's going to my daughter's house, so it needs to be able to take a little abuse. And I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. And then what I'm going to do next, while this is sitting, here, hold that up there. I'll use my little sanding thing to hold that up. I am going to take a piece of cardstock, and I think I'm going to take a thin piece of cardboard and just back that up a little bit, because I feel like that little drawer shelf thing needs to be glued to something else. But I'm just going to put a piece of cardstock along the back of it to kind of make it look pretty. But before I do that, I'm going to do one other thing that is really super cool. Is I am going to add a couple, if I can get it, a couple of hooks. I'm going to put some hooks right in the top of the frame here. We're just going to pop a couple hooks in there, and then it's going to hold keys, so that when you hang this up on the wall, we've got this cool little like drawer shelfy thing that you can put a wallet in, or a cell phone, or your pocket change or whatever. And then we're going to have a couple little hooks right up here to hang some keys. So I'm going to screw some hooks in. I'm going to get my paper fixed to the back of it, and we'll have this cool little organizer. So I went ahead and hot glued the paper to the back, and then a thin piece of cardboard, just to make sure that when we go to use the hooks that we're not pushing through the paper. And as you can see, you can hang some keys there. You can put a wallet in your little tray, or a cell phone hangs on the wall, and got a nice little organizer out of a recycled picture frame and a little piece of stuff from the dollar store. So one of the other cool things you can do with a picture frame, if it still has the glass, I took this out, put a different little piece of paper in there, replaced the ugly picture. And I just took a Sharpie and wrote on the paper. You could get really fancy and, you know, get a little decal or something like that, make whatever list. And the cool thing, because it's glass, is that if you use a dry erase marker, you can simply write on it. Just like that. And it wipes off. Just like that. So you can put one of these together and hang it by the refrigerator and use it as grocery list, or hang one next to your bed so that before you go to bed at night you can write your to-do list and you'll see it first thing in the morning, and maybe it'll help you remember. Maybe that's what I need to do. So again, upcycled frame, helping you stay organized, helping you stay on task. So one of the other things, if you want to be really, really resourceful, this is a fun one. So when you're done with your box of cereal, whether you've made some Chex Mix for the holidays or some delicious, yummy cornflake wreaths like we did at Christmas time, don't throw away your silverware. Yeah, don't throw away your silverware either. Don't throw away your cereal box, because if you take a ruler and kind of draw a line right across here, like so, from the corner down a little bit. Do that. And if you do it right about the length of your ruler, you're going to end up in pretty good shape. So I'm going to draw that right about there. And where it ends, if you can see where that ends, right there, I'm going to go straight across. Just so that I have a vision of what I want to do, because then when I come around here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mark that line and draw it right across here so that I stay level as I go around. But what you want to do then is you're going to cut along the side and along the front, and then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take your piece that you cut off, match it over here, and cut the other side, and then you'll have this sort of triangular shaped thing that looks like this, that I covered with some cardstock, but as you can see, it's actually a cereal box, but now I can put my papers or whatever I want. Of course, I don't have any papers here because, does this fit in here? No. So you can put your papers in here, and that kind of leads us to what else you can do with this is I took a piece of cardboard, again, covered it with cardstock, and I'm going to hot glue my cut little cereal box onto this piece of cardboard like so. And I also have these left laying around from Christmas, a couple little fun empty gift boxes, and if you don't have any left laying around from Christmas, you might still be able to find some on clearance. So I'm going to take the lid off them and take them apart, and I'm going to glue them together, and then I'm going to put them over here with the rest of my stuff, and I'm actually going to turn this into kind of a cool little desk organizer that I can move around if I need to. And I'm going to take also, I think, a couple of my little clothespins. Maybe I can find my fun pretty ones. Look for my fun pretty ones, and I'll hot glue some of those on there, and then we'll have a little portable organizer that you can move around. Now again, if you don't need a whole little organizer, these are great to just, you know, put everywhere. You can put a few of these wherever your home office is. You can put these in the kitchen to keep track of your recipes or your lists, those types of things. You can go ahead and cut them all the way down and use them as drawer organizers. That's certainly cheaper than going out and buying those fancy plastic things that, you know, eventually get broke. When these get worn out, you just throw them in the trash and cut up another cereal box. So I'm going to glue these together, and then I'm going to show you one more trick. So once you get everything all glued together, you get some room for your notebooks, your papers, all your other little fun stuff from your scissors and calculators, sticky notes, whatever. Even got some little clips here to put our little stationery or reminders. And the best part of this, if you're working in one area and maybe you're going to move from your office area into the living room and you don't know what supplies to take, you just pick up the whole thing and take it with you. So it moves nicely around your work area, but it also can move from one area to another. And the best part of it is it costs practically nothing. It's almost free, and you know how I love free. So again, just another cool idea to kind of recycle or upcycle some of the things you have in your house without spending any money to get organized, right? So one of the last things I have here is baskets, and baskets are always a great way to kind of corral your stuff, keep things organized. And sometimes maybe if you use a basket in a little different way than what you might normally think about using it, you can really create some cool space. So this was a basket that came at Christmas time. It was functional for, you know, putting the treats in that came in it. But rather than using this kind of as is, it's a little short, you know, I don't know how functional it's going to be. We can actually turn this on its side. We'll put a couple little pieces of wire so that we can actually hang it on the wall, but we're going to do one more thing. We're going to grab some of my fun and favorite chalkboard vinyl, and I will have some pieces of this for you out in the vestibule, so if maybe you want to take like a picture frame and use that as your backing fabric and make a chalkboard, you can do that. Or you can use one of these strips on a basket that you might have at home. But basically I'm going to take this strip of chalkboard vinyl and I'm going to hot glue it to the back of the basket really super tight, and maybe a few dabs of glue along the front edge. And that will actually give me almost like a little extra side to the basket so that I can use it for storage. I can, now that it's hanging on the wall, I could put recipes in it, papers, or maybe even some pot holders or something like that. The cool part of it is because it is chalkboard vinyl, we can take our fun little chalk markers and we can write on the vinyl, and we can erase it because it is chalk on chalkboard. Let's make sure I'm not sure this is going to fit, but we'll try it, right? So I can write on here, then I know exactly what I've stored in here or what I need to remember. So once I hot glue it, see, then I can write whatever I want. I can wipe it off and rewrite it. In case you can't read my messy writing, it says join me next Saturday. Because I will be here next Saturday giving you something to do. So if you didn't get enough to do today with our fun little organizational things, your something to do is make sure that you come and get your little supplies if you need them so that you can make your little mitten and hat organizer, or maybe it's going to be, I hate to say it, but your bill organizer, or your mail organizer, or you know, whatever you need to get organized. Or maybe you're just going to put your reminders. Remember to get online and put your holds for your favorite books at the Kingsville Public Library. You know, maybe this is your return slips for when your movies are due from the Kingsville Public Library. Maybe this is your little recipe that you're going to write down for when we make fudge for National Candy Week. Yeah, we're doing that next Saturday, so don't miss that. So all kinds of fun things happening. Make sure that you like us, that you comment, and that you share, because we want your friends to become our friends, because we can always use more friends, right? Comment, let me know what you like, maybe even what you don't. I'm tough, I think I can take it, be nice. And if you do the project, make sure you share it in the comments and let us know, because I love to see what you do. You guys are so creative, you're so talented, way more talented than I am, and I love to see what you're doing because it's always awesome. But until next Saturday, be safe, be well, and I will see you real soon. Take care.